So there was no sound for all of that. I get to start over? Ah, welcome everybody. Good morning, guys. Welcome to the Stash Busters series. My name is Bradie, and today we are starting a brand new quilt. Woo woo! Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Is it registering at all? We're good? Okay. So the quilt you see behind me is called Round the Rail, and that one is now available on the website at sparrowquiltco.com. We are working through our stash in an effort to use up what we already have on hand, because I have plenty on hand and I know you do too. So let's use up the fabrics that we already own and already possessed, we've already invested in. Let's go ahead and use those fabrics up and have less clutter in our mind, have less clutter in our homes, and less guilt too. I don't know about you, but I get feeling guilty about all the fabrics I've accumulated, and I just want to use them up. There's so much beautiful stuff in there. And to be honest, after a while, it starts to feel a bit outdated, and my attachment to it diminishes. So there's been quite a few things that I've weeded out and sold or passed on to another home or given to the children. But I just think it's so important to use up what we have, because otherwise it's just sitting in our mind, taking up space, and we wish that we had done something with those expensive fabrics. So that's the whole idea of Stash Busters. And we do this show on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Don't worry if you can't join us live. We always record the episodes, and they're available later on. So if you can't watch them till later in the evening, that's fine too. You can also find us on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is called Sparrow Studios, and I hope that while you're there, you will subscribe. And the videos are also available on our website. Under the Stash Busters tab, you can see all the prior projects that we have done. And the last quilt that we just finished up is called Undone, and we will be getting that all finished up, and we will show you that hopefully next week once it's all quilted. All right, who's here with me today? Leave me a little comment and tell me where you're watching from. And my question for today is, what kind of odd fabrics have you used in the past to make a quilt? We have seen all kinds of crazy stuff come through the business. I'm talking like Fortrell out of the 70s, you know, denim on denim, home decorator fabrics, whatever people find in the clearance bin over at Value Village or a secondhand store. You know, if it's got the right colors, people will pull it out and they'll bring it in here and they will quilt on it. And while all fabrics don't behave the same, they're still all beautiful. If it's the right color, then go for it, right? So I'm curious to know what kind of unusual fabrics you have put into your quilts. And I'll tell you a little story later about one of our very prolific quilters named Evelyn and the quilt she and her sister brought in one time. So how's everybody doing today? I hope you're all doing well. Is spring arrived in your corner of the world? I see on Facebook that a lot of you are getting some winter storms back, and oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you stocked up on your milk and bread and coffee. You're going to need some coffee if you're going to do some quilting over these next few days, right? Are we doing all right there so far? Any questions or anything? Okay, so you guys know the drill. We always have a fun giveaway. Today I'm giving away this cute little book called Jelly Babies, and it is all based on 2.5-inch strips. And I chose this book because today's pattern includes 2.5-inch strips. And now there's no rule saying that you have to use a jelly roll or go out and buy something new. No, use up what you've got in your stash, please. That is the idea of Stash Busters. So if you want to qualify to win that book, you're going to go ahead and share this video. And if you're not familiar with how to share, then I want you to look underneath the video. There's 3 options: like, comment, and share. And you're just going to select share. And that will share this video with all your friends. And hopefully your quilting friends can join us and take part in the fun. Lannon's just giving you a little close-up there so you can see it a little bit better. It is a cute little book. We've got kits done up for one of the quilts in there. It's called Meadowlark. We did it in much brighter colors, and it's just beautiful. Cute, cute, cute. But they're all baby quilts. So today, the pattern that I'm working on is called Round the Rail. And like I said, you can get that at sparrowquiltco.com. And essentially what it is a rail fence that we've added a border to. It's not terribly complex, but it does go very fast, and it's just nice and simple. It's a great way to use up some of those strips that you have in your stash or in your collection. We have a couple of new babies that will be joining the family soon, and not my family. These are going to be little nieces or nephews. Not my baby. I know you're thinking it's my baby because you know I have 10 children, but nope, I am done. We fixed the leak. So one of the little mamas is quite a modern young lady, and she has, she's more a fan of neutrals and that sort of thing. So I busted out this fabric line called Thicket, and it has actually become one of Moda's basics because it is so popular. So it's kind of based on animals, and it's got all these cute prints, dashes and triangles and crosshatch, that sort of thing. So that is the fabric that I'm going to be using for her quilt. And I just need to select 2 of these coordinates in order to go along with that. The other baby quilt, we don't know if it's a boy or a girl. We don't know if this one's a boy or a girl either, but my color choices are very safe. It won't matter if it's boyish or feminine. This one here, though, I'm just going to do in the sweet little bunny rabbit. This line is called Bunnies and Cream, and it's by Riley Blake. And so I've just chosen a green and a yellow, and we're just going to start cutting all this up today. Instead of doing the full size pattern, I'm just going to do the 5 blocks across and the 4 rows down. So that's going to give me a quilt that finishes at about 50 by 40, because these blocks are 10 inches. Darn, my thing didn't print. According to the pattern, the size of the quilt, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, will be about 80 by 50. So this is a good twin size quilt. That's what I originally made them for. Well, I think most twin sizes are like 50 by 96, because a typical bed is always, yep, the length never changes. It's the width of the quilt that changes to suit the twin, double, queen, etc. So the 2 original ones that I did are twin size, and they are on our 2 youngest boys' beds. And I had done a custom panel at the bottom that has their name, and I showed you guys that last week. So if you're really curious to see the original quilts, you can go watch, I think it's last Friday's video, where I showed the finished quilts and how I did the applique at the bottom. And I did some little trees and a saw and an axe to give myself like a lumberjack theme. And we did them in the flannels in the Dapper Wovens line by Moda, which was designed by Luke Haynes. So those turned out really cute and really boyish. But of course, as I said, I forgot that one at home today. So we are just going to get by with this version that Darcy made for us. You can see it's not quilted yet, but it's still pretty nonetheless. So let's try. There we go. Hopefully that's better, and we won't get as much rubbing on the microphone. So first I'm going to bring us into the discussion here while we attempt to choose a solid. So what I'm looking for is this center rail, and it will also be one of the outer borders. And I'm also looking for this fabric. So I'm kind of leaning already towards just the plain black and neutral, because that matches exactly. But it feels a little safe, and it feels just a little bit boring. I don't want to be too risky with this quilt, though, because I want the little mama to like it. So I am... nice. So I've brought a couple other fabrics just to see. These 2 I am just setting aside. This one is called Washed Black, and it's almost got a navy look to it. And I just don't like how it looks. This is another Bella Solid, and I'm just trying to look under the sticker here to see what one it is. No, I can't see it, but it's not a pure black. It's almost got a brown tinge to it, and I don't like that. I think it's going to dull these cute prints, so I'm setting that one aside as well. That black almost matches it bang on, So that one is a good option. It might be nice to bring in something else, like this kind of charcoal gray. I actually really like that with the neutral. What do you think, guys? Do you think that would work instead of the black? Leave this one out and bring in this charcoal gray. And then for the light, you know, that natural is there, and it sure does feel safe. I don't mind that one either. I know that baby's room is like just a nice light gray, which I'm thinking is more in this range, but I don't quite like that. Am I being too fussy? And this is nice. It's just a little bit darker than the natural, but it's got some texture to it, so it's got a little bit more interest. I feel like that would be safe too. What do you guys think? Leave me some comments there and we'll decide on this one in a moment. I think what I'll do is start cutting out this one because I know for sure what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Pat recommends not making the quilt so dark. I don't know if you were saying the green one, because she says it would make the quilt not so dark.
The lighter colors, maybe the grays.
I think it's so dark.
It is very dark. And I was really excited when I remembered the thicket because this young lady, when she got married at her bridal shower, the theme was black and white. The wedding was very black and white. So I feel like she just really likes those classic colors. You know, I don't want to go too wild. I don't want her to hate the quilt and never use it, you know. And if she does, that's fine too. I'm not going to take it personally, but I just really do want her to like the quilt and hopefully use it. So that's why. The lighter gray. I am quite liking those. The black is just so safe, you know, but it's not really exciting. Okay, let's stack these up. We'll set them aside for a moment and we'll start cutting on our little bunnies and cream line and using the greens and yellows because I know for sure that's where I'm going with those. Now don't forget, guys, if you've just joined us or you've forgotten, please go ahead and share this video so that you can be entered to win the Jelly Babies book featuring quilts made with 2.5-inch strips. Good thing I got all these extra chairs around here so I can set stuff on. Now go ahead and get that pattern at sparrowquiltco.com, you guys. You can do a, just put in your email address and it will email the pattern to you. And don't worry, your pattern will look a lot prettier. Our second oldest daughter, Tylee, prettied it all up for me and made it look really nice. These serve no purpose whatsoever. I just had them here to talk about jelly rolls. So let's get those out of the way. And I'm going to put these over here so you can just see how pretty this line of fabric is. This bunnies and cream line is so sweet. It's so perfect for a baby quilt. Did you guys notice that we're back at the shop today? I said to Sheila today, it's so quiet at the house, it's kind of boring. I miss the action and excitement of the studio. Aren't those sweet? I just love those little tiny florals. They're just so pretty. Yeah, and those ginghams, and it's just so cute. So that's what our quilt is going to be made out of. And I have already pre-cut a nice little roll. I've got 20 strips in this little bundle right here. And now what I need to do is start cutting my yardage into 2.5-inch strips. So I'm just going to open these babies up. And I know some of you who are just joining for the first time, you're looking at my fabric as I'm going to cut it off the bolt and you're thinking, oh, she doesn't pre-wash her fabrics. And it's true, I don't. I am not a pre-washer. Are you a pre-washer? Do you prefer to pre-wash your fabrics? I just find they do behave so much better when we've got them straight off the bolt. They're just so nice and structured and easy to work with. That's why I like it anyways. So I am just going to be cutting my strips at 2.5 inches wide. And to make that job really quick and easy, I always use my 6-inch strip cutting ruler, and it has just got this handy slider on the back side that moves from left to right, and it allows me to predetermine my strip width. So I could go as narrow as 1/8 of an inch, I could go as wide as 6 inches. You can see I've already got it preset at 2.5 inches. So I actually just have to maybe... These are nice and square already. I would normally square these up if I saw any unevenness in the cut, but it looks really good, so I'm just going to go ahead and start cutting. What's that? Yes. Yay for team no pre-wash. It's just another extra step. Yes, if you do pre-wash, I do recommend starching your fabrics before you get cutting them out, because they just lose their spine and they're so like limp and wimpy, and I just don't have any respect for them anymore. Oh, that sounds so bad. When their spine, Sheila's laughing at me over there. Sheila says they're loose and easy. Oh, we're bad. Don't do it, Nicia. Oh, yes. And then if you don't pre-wash and then you wash your quilt after it's completely finished, it just gets this nice crinkly kind of antique wrinkled look. And I like that personally. But that's not for everybody. So if you want to pre-wash, you go right ahead, because you know what? It's your quilt and your fabric, and you do what you want with it, okay? Right, Laura? Right? Okay. So I have them set at 2.5 inches, and we are going to just start cutting across the yardage here. Your fabric requirements are going to call for 12 prints that are 2.5 inches wide, and I've already shown you that. Then we're going to need 1.7 meters of a solid of your choice, and then 1.2 meters of a bold contrast print. Now, for those of you that work in yards, you're just going to do an easy conversion there. It's going to be a little bit more in yards than it is in meters. So a meter is 39 inches, a yard is 36 inches. So it's not a big difference, it's 3 inches. Okay. So the 1.75 is the one that's going to go in the middle and around, and the 1.2 is the one that just goes around. Now I'm going to cut from my block borders 18 strips. I'm starting to doubt my instructions here. So let's go ahead and just cut those. That's going to be more than I need. So I'm going to cut 12, because like I told you, I'm reducing the size for this project to make them baby quilts instead of twin size. So let's go ahead and cut 12 of these, and then I should have plenty. My favorite thing about this ruler is that it doesn't shift at the end, but also this finger guard. I'm always scared that my finger's going to jump off the ruler and get chopped off, which would be, and it's funny because I'd probably be more mad about bleeding on my fabric than I would be about cutting off my finger. Oh, isn't that silly? Oh, yes, no problem. It feels confusing, but it's only 3 inches per unit, per single whole unit, so it's not so bad. That's the nice thing about if Americans buy from Canadian fabric sites, they're going to get a little bit more than they normally do. So I am cutting through 4 layers here because my strips are, as I talk about the thickness, then I fail to sever the entire piece. And it's quite easy to do that with this ruler. I could actually cut up to 12 layers of fabric if I chose. I usually don't go quite that thick, but I could if I wanted to. So there, I'm up to 4 already. Pardon me. Is anybody sharing their stories about wild and crazy fabrics? One of the years ago, we did a quilt that was denim on denim, and it actually wrecked our first long arm. So that's when we decided to move over to the APQS long arms, and never looked back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But these machines, they stitch through anything. I'm going to cut 12 of each. So just 12 total cuts, both fabrics. Isn't that a pretty green, you guys? This one is called Winter Green. Yeah. Oh, that it does. The yellow matches my cutting mat too well. I'm pretty excited to be back here at my workstation table so I can raise and lower the height of my table. I've missed that. You're right, it is bang on the same yellow. So behind the scenes, I also have Miss Landon. She's my oldest daughter. I should say our oldest daughter, mine and Matt. She does all my sharing of the questions and sets up all the cameras and lights. This is not a one-girl show. I know, right? It's funny to me that this is the way it works, because here I still measure myself in pounds, and I still measure my height in feet and inches. So it's really, when we look at our license and I see my weight in kilograms and I see my height in centimeters, it's just so weird. But we have a good friend in Germany, and she calculates her long arm quilting prices by the square meter. And it's a much different calculation. We do it here by the square inch. This ruler is the 6-inch strip cutting ruler, and you can find it on the website at sparrowquiltco.com. It makes cutting out jelly rolls or any sort of strip just a breeze. It is so fast and easy and accurate. It makes me look really good without trying very hard, and that's a good thing. I really do believe in getting like good quality tools for even just for our hobbies, because you want to enjoy your hobbies. You don't want to struggle trying to make things work. So I do not hesitate to invest in the tools that are going to make my job easier, because I do this a lot and I don't want to start hating it. 3, 5, 7, 9. I got 3 more to go. I'm not going to make it. I'm going to have to unfold a little bit more. Two more to go. Here we are. All right, I'm going to have to unfold just a little bit. Didn't quite have enough room to make it. That's okay. So, Landon, did we ever figure out who the winner was, say, to get the long arm quilting on their undone quilt? We should probably figure out who the first one was that submitted their quilt so we can like announce a winner. Okay. I just got Landon looking up who submitted their undone quilt first. We had a contest going, whoever finished their undone quilt first. Okay, so we'll have to announce that next time. But whoever finished and posted their undone quilt first was going to win free long arm quilting. So hopefully you've been watching all along, but if not, this is the Stash Busters series, and this is a movement dedicated to using up our stash and what we have on hand. And so we are providing free tutorials and easy, simple patterns that will allow you to do so. And we also have some videos on YouTube, and they're called Quilt Block Studio, and it is just a short and sweet version of the tutorial to make each individual block. So if you just don't have the time, you don't like my hair, you don't want to listen to my voice, that's fine. Go and watch those short and sweet tutorials, and you'll be able to get to the point a lot quicker. If you are tuning in for the first time, then just a heads up that we like to give away free stuff, and today's giveaway is this cute little book called Jelly Babies. It is based on it is made of quilts that come from 2.5-inch strips. So if you want to win that book, you're just going to share this video here on Facebook, and that will spread the word about our Stash Busters program, and hopefully some of your quilty friends can join in on the fun as well. If you're looking for the free round the rail pattern, it is on the website at sparrowquiltco.com. You're just going to click on that picture of me along the top there, and that will take you to a new page where you can enter your email address, and then we'll email you the pattern. I have 12 strips of each color, so we can roll these up and set them aside for now. I always like to kind of plan my strip sets so that I get some good contrast in there. I have got stuff everywhere today, you guys. Don't worry, my coffee is safe over here. I won't be throwing it at you or myself. At least it's not in the plan, though it never ever is. I started a couple weeks ago now. I quit buying takeout coffee, and I've been trying really hard just to make my own. I'll admit I don't love it as much, but you know what? I have already saved almost $200 on not buying takeout coffee, so I'm quite pleased with myself. All right, so now I'm going to separate these into their 2 separate piles based on color. If you can see those better there. That's right, that's right. And that's what I always find is that a lot of us women really struggle spending money on ourselves, and I am very guilty of it myself. We always think of what needs to come first, you know, the groceries, the children, the new rubber boots for spring, whatever else is always more important than ourselves. But I think it's important to treat yourself and let yourself have those things that really deep down you do want. And I have to remind myself of that all the time. A lot of times too, Matt just like pushes me. No, your nails look terrible. You need to go get them done. He's never said it like that, but like when they're grown out halfway up my hand, well, come on, Bradie, it's time to just do it and just invest the money in yourself. So it's nice when the husband comes in with the wife and supports her, because he knows how much he spent on his tractor. He knows how much his boat cost, his motorbike, all those little things that men can sometimes splurge on. Well, we have just as much equality in the relationship, so treat yourself to something nice. Just do it. You deserve it. I have to remind myself, I've given birth to 10 humans. I deserve something nice here and there, right? So now I've got my colors sorted, and you can see how pretty they are. It's kind of like a buttercream and a winter green. So if I'm going to put the green as my center rail, then what I need to do is plan my sets of 3. And this has got a lot of fluffy stuff on it, but that's fine. So essentially we're going to be sewing our strip sets into groups of 3. And so we want to arrange them in sets of 3. Sorry, the lights just turned off there for a moment. the lights in here. The fruit flies are like all landing on the switch. So these, because they're my borders, I'm just going to set them aside. They're actually not going to be into the middle of the blocks at all. And this one, oh, I'm liking this one. These tiny little florals with those itty bitty ribbons in there. Oh, I just love it. That's a really nice strip set. So essentially what we're going to be doing, this is so simple, you guys. We're going to be sewing the 3 strips together. And remember, I taught you guys before, you're going to sew down one side and up the other because strips are the worst for getting that sway or twisting or whatever happens when we sew with strips where they start to just get like hourglass shaped. We have to alternate our direction of sewing, so up one side and down the other, okay? And we'll talk more about that on Friday when we actually get sewing our strips together. But if you get ahead of me, that's what I want you to remember. Then once we have our strip sets sewn together, we're going to cut them into chunks so that we have a center square that's going to measure 6.5 by 6.5. Once we have those center squares, then we're going to border them with our 2 different prints. Does that make sense? Good, 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 good. I like that one. And I know they can't all have like super high contrast, but I'm going to aim for that a little bit. This blue is pretty. All that's on it, though, is a recipe. It's just a little bit blah. So I think I'm going to set those aside until I know if I actually need them, because they aren't very exciting to me. Now I know there's 2 greens together there, but that's okay. You know what I love about babies is they don't judge. They don't care what that baby quilt looks like. They don't even care if the quilting is professional. They just want to be warm. So don't you worry about those babies and what they think of your quilts. All right. So now I'm running out of room, so I'm going to stack these up in sets of 3. That's one set there. Another set here. And I'm going to fold them in half so that I can kind of keep them organized in their little groups. I really like this one with lots of contrast. I'm going to start leaning towards that. So this pretty little pink one has some strawberries in it, which I think is really sweet. I try not to bring too much pink into this one because we don't know if it's a boy or a girl. And I don't want some poor little boy baby to be wrapped up in pink too much anyways. Oh yeah, let's bring in this one. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you for sharing the video. Get you entered into the contest. Now, truth be told, if you don't keep that green rail block in the center, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Put them where you want them. If it looks better mixed up more, then go for it. In fact, in this one, maybe it would be better if I put that yellow in the center, right? So that my 2 greens wouldn't beside one another. It really doesn't matter. Like I said, babies don't judge, and it's your quilt, so you do what you want. You do what you think looks best. All right. So these, I'm just going to keep organizing them in sets of 3 until I've used up all my strips, and then we'll get cutting out the other set for the other new babe that's coming. It's actually really exciting to me that there's going to be some new babies in the family that I can hug and cuddle and then just give back. There you go. Go see your mommy. Okay. So I'm going to have enough if I leave out all these words. The fabric itself like I said, it has actual recipes on it, but here you can only see strips of it, and so that's kind of boring. I think it doesn't even have the whole recipe on there, so that's why I'm just setting those aside. We will have enough to complete the quilt without. And like I said, I am just doing this one baby sized, so it's going to be the 5 blocks across by 4 rows down. So it should end up about 40 by 50, which is a perfect size for a brand new little babe. Even if I did end up adding one more row and made it 50 by 50, that would probably be enough to bundle baby up. I don't know about you guys, but I always bundled up my babies. They seem so much more secure and happy when they are immobilized. I do have a fair amount of this bunny fabric, yes. I have some bundles on the website. I don't have the yardage on the website, but I can certainly try and get that added. All right. Let's get these stacked up and into our little piles, and then we'll move on to our thicket fabrics. Thicket was a fabric line that came out by a designer named Gingerbread, and it was so wildly popular that Moda made it a basic. Now, if you don't know, with fabric, it's typically a one-shot deal. If you see a fabric in a quilt shop and you love it, then you better get it. Don't hope that it's there the next time you go back, because fabric is printed once, and then when it's gone, it's gone. And there's the odd collection that is so popular that they'll print it a second time, but it's pretty rare. And then there's our basics, like solids or textured solids or dots or, yeah, lines like polka dots. You know, there's just certain things that are always available, white and black solid or, you know, whatever, that type of thing. Well, Gingerbread was so popular that Moda made it a basic, so you can still order it today, which is pretty unusual, as I explained. So for that reason, I decided to celebrate and make a little baby quilt out of it. All right. I think, you guys, we're going to go with the 2 grays. This charcoal is a linen, and this lighter one here is a Bella solid. Oh, is it a Bella? Yep. And it is called Dovetail. And I think that'll just give us a little bit more interest than our plain old natural and black. You guys agree? I hope so. And even if you don't, that's okay. It's my quilt. I'm doing what I want. Get a quick sip of coffee here. When we were still in our old location, we had a lady come in with about 7 different quilts that were all made of Fortrell, and they were just stretchy and bright and wild and colorful. And we were just amazed at the shape of them, because she literally said they were from her mother's fabric stash. So she thought they may have even been from like the 50s or 60s. So ever since then, I've always just had this fascination with quilts that didn't include typical fabrics, just regular quilting cottons. We're used to how cotton behaves. It's predictable, it is safe, it's got nice structure to it, assuming you have not pre-washed it. And if you have, hopefully you've starched the crap out of it to make it, you know, have a spine again. But last year we had a lady come in named Evelyn, and Evelyn always comes with her sister Barb. And Evelyn and Barb are just darling. I adore them. 2 of my favorite girls. And Lyman says they're all your favorite girls. Whatever. All my children are my favorite too. There's 10 of them. Lyman says, if the kids ask Grandma who her favorite grandchild is, she says, whoever's asking. That's a wise answer, Grandma. So Evelyn and Barb had brought in this stunning red and white quilt, and it was all made of Fortrell. Now, if you don't know anything about Fortrell, it is stretchy, and it is polyester, and it... yeah, it's like that textured, grippy... It's the kind of fabric, like if you rubbed it on your face, you would be like, oh, I I'm not sure I want to sleep under this. But the quilt that these girls had made was so gorgeous. I can't remember. It was just a simple pattern and just red and white alternating. Just beautiful. Maybe on point squares or something. Anyways, neither one of them really liked it. And they had put it together to do for a charity quilt for church. And both of these ladies are very charitable and always giving and so generous. Lannon's getting a picture for Facebook posts. And it turned out amazing, amazing. So I'm not brave enough myself to venture into these wild and crazy fabrics, but it always makes me curious as to what are you making quilts out of? Feed sacks, nice. Wow, if you have some genuine feed sacks, that's amazing. These little guys? Oh, those are dainty darling. I got another question for you guys. I was thinking about doing a tour of the studio sometime, maybe on Friday afternoon. I wouldn't be able to wear the microphone, but we could just walk around and I could give you guys a peek at all the fabrics that we have here. And we're moving. We're moving really soon. So yeah, well, of the new one, yes, but I want to show off some fabrics because we want to do a fabric auction. I want to clear out some stuff before we move, and I'm sure you can understand why, because it's a huge job. We're not just moving a quilt shop, but we've also got 4 long arm machines upstairs and the entire shipping department. So there's a lot that needs to go, and that's why we're considering this fabric auction type of idea. So what do you guys think? Would you like a tour of the shop? And I could take you around and let you see all the neat and groovy little things that we have around here. Let me know what you think, and we'll ponder that for Friday. We are going to do a fabric auction probably next week sometime. Trying to show those. Okay, time to stop talking and get some work done. I read a comment a couple weeks ago. Quilter said I could talk a pattern to death. Probably could. Okay, awesome. It's so different than what it used to be, and I just can't quite capture everything with photos, so I'd love to tour you guys around. I'm trying to get more laid out so that I don't have to shuffle things as often. And I'm going to lay them both out at the same time. I just love this linen. I'm going to have to order it again. It's also available in baby colors. I wish I already had them, but... Oh. Oh. Oh, Francis, that still sounds lovely, though. I'm sorry you've got no power. Everybody wants to see the shop? Okay, that sounds great. We will do that probably on Friday then. So that means we're streaming from the shop again on Friday, and it's just so much more exciting. At home, I love my house. It's beautiful. The mic got this box that has to be plugged in, and I can't. We'll figure it out. Either that or I'll talk really close. I'll be like, la, 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 talking right into the phone or camera, whatever it is that we're doing. Oh, goodness. My fruit flyism is really evident today. I'm going to blame it on daylight savings time. I know, right? Don't worry, spring will be here soon. Okay, Laura, these are dainty darlings. And they are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, Al, go grab that quilt over there. It's under the undone. It's got the little orange peel appliques on it. We just had Darcy do a quilt in these pretty fabrics. And, you know, a lot of this just sold when it was yardage. We have a few bundles left, but it is in the background.
Yeah.
The checkerboard.
It's on purpose, right?
Yep, yep. So I had told you guys about this quilt the other day when we were discussing the Playful Petals book. I was showing you some of the patterns out of there. pardon me. And this is the quilt I was talking about. So you can see it was just a simple checkerboard background. And then Darcy appliqued all those little orange peels. And this is that same fabric line that I was just showing there. It's called Dainty Darling. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to get that one all quilted up and get it hanging up. You are welcome. Oh, nice. And Sheila's doing one out of Dainty Darlings as well. Kind of a wonky square and a square. And it is beautiful. These fabrics, as you can see, they're beautiful. You don't have to do anything tricky with beautiful fabric. You just got to sew it all together and let it speak for itself. Exactly. Thank you, Landon. I appreciate that. Linen is a little bit thicker and it's got more texture. How I think of it, when we see the grain in our normal cottons, the threads in there are very thin and very consistent. The threads that are running vertically and horizontally because it's a woven product, right? So when we look at linen, it strikes me that the threads are thicker, and I believe it's made from flax, not from cotton, and it can sometimes be inconsistent in thickness, so you feel it in the fiber. Yes, it's got a lot more texture. It's more breathable than cotton, I believe. That's why a lot of people wear it in the summertime. And it is a, just adds a bit more interest to your quilts. I'll try and show it after. We've got it in that chandelier quilt too. That was the background in that one. But that probably finished off the white bolt. All right, so here we are, ready to cut some strips again. I've got my strip cutting ruler set at 2.5. So I'll just show you my ruler again in case you're just joining us. This is our 6-inch strip cutting ruler, and it is fully adjustable from 1/8 of an inch all the way up to 6 inches. And I set my width by moving this slider from left to right. It is held in place with these wing nuts on top, and I just move it over to the side, and then I tighten it in place, and it helps me cut strips virtually effortless and very precise. Another advantage to this ruler is that it's got this finger guard, and that protects my finger from jumping off and getting, removed, chopped off. And we've also got this sandpaper slip stop on the edge of the ruler, which holds the ruler in place perfectly. Now, I get a lot of questions about, can I use this if I'm left-handed? And you absolutely can. You're just going to turn it around. The numbers on the ruler face both directions, so you can either use it this way as a left-handy or this way as a right-hander. It's going to be perfectly fine either way. It will work for you no matter what. Well, I don't know how I got so lucky with these straight edges of this fabric that I'm cutting off the bolt today, but it is ready to go. So I'm not going to bother squaring up. I'm just going to go for it. And I just line up that orange slider right up against the raw edge of the fabric. And when I press it in place, I literally cannot move it. I can't budge it, and I certainly cannot get that sway at the far end that I normally get with my ruler. Okay, guys, we're just going to switch cameras, and there's going to be no mic for a minute, or... Okay, just while we do the switch. So Lana wants to give you a better viewpoint. All right, we're back. Well, since we're back with sound again, this is the Stash Buster series, and we are just working on simple, easy quilts in an effort to use up our stash. although I am currently cutting right off the bolt. I know, this looks odd. But you can find us here on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And you can download the free pattern Round the Rail at sparrowquiltco.com. You're just going to visit there, put in your email address, and you'll get the free pattern behind me. Now, any of our prior patterns that we have done in the Stash Busters series, they're no longer free, but you can purchase them as a PDF download on the website. I'm happy to hear that, Rose. I'm glad you like your ruler. I cannot live without mine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Aren't you guys proud of me that I can count? So I'll just let you guys know as well, if you've got a couple of quilts you want quilted, when you bring us 3 quilts or send us 3 quilts in the mail, you will save 20%. So that's a pretty good deal. And helps you get those quilts finished. Turns out it's not a quilt until it's quilted. And if you're me, you take them straight off the frame and now they're usable. Binding is optional. Although a lot of the quilts have been getting bound lately. And thank you to Darcy for that. I'll change the blade if I start really having trouble with it. Like, just, you've seen me twice here now. I didn't quite cut all the way through, but, probably 80% of the cuts were fine. So if I start every single time I'm having to go back and, chop a little bit more, that's when I will cut it. Or if I can see physically that there is like a dent in the blade or a little divot or something, then I will go back and change it. But unless I'm having trouble with it, I just keep using it. It's not like a sewing machine needle that I change very frequently. This is it's called an ergonomic rotary cutter, and you can find them on the website there at sparrowquiltco.com. You'll notice this one is very right-handed, so we've got a blue version that's for left-handed, and of course it's just the other way around. And it's available in 28 mil, 45 mil, and 60 mil. I really like just the middle of the road, but if I'm doing like a lot of layers of flannel or something, I'll go up to the 60 millimeter blade. I can count to 10. And I'll show you here in just a moment. Hi, Annie, the new quilter. Welcome to the show. I love it too, Laura. So our cost for quilting, machine quilting service is 2.5 cents per square inch. For the sake of easy math, I always say a quilt that's 100 by 100 is $250. And that's Canadian because we are up in Canada. So you Americans are going to save a lot of money. Your dollar is worth more up here than it is where you're from. And my dollar's worth nothing down there. This pattern is available now. Matt put it up on the site this morning. So you should be able to visit there at sparrowquiltco.com and you'll be able to download it. But, yay. That's great news, Kathy, that you love it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. One more. Do you hear that? 11. Woohoo! Laura's parrot taught me how to count. All right. Now we can get these babies out of our way, and then we'll start arranging those in pairs of 3 as well. Now I just need to decide which fabric is going to be my center rail. I'm leaning towards the darker one. Just because I love it. So Landon had brought over a quilt with some linen in it, and I'm just laying out the bolts here. Hopefully you can see the difference in the texture. This is a regular cotton in comparison. Hopefully you can see how it's just a bit more grainy, the darker linen. And I'm just going to reach over and grab this. And this is the chandelier quilt that was recently made, and it's also got linen in it. And you can actually, like the fibers, the threads that the fabric is made of are just thicker. They're just more significant. But I would also describe the weave as slightly looser, not as densely woven. Yeah. So if you were to shake the fabric, like pull it, it would unravel maybe a little more easily. So I am a bit more careful with those. But I love the texture. I love how it just gives something extra to the quilt that's not normally there. All right, let's get these little guys out of the way. Now, just a reminder, you guys, if you haven't shared the video yet, or if you want to share it again, please do. We're giving away the Jelly Babies book today. It is a book full of quilts made with 2.5-inch strips. We're working with 2.5-inch strips today, so I felt like that was very appropriate. And also check out the Meadowlark Quilt Kit on our website there. It comes out of this book, and it is very pretty. That quilt I just showed you with the linen in it is from Charm School, and that pattern is called Chandelier. And it is super duper pretty. The fabrics we used in that one are called Ava Rose, and those are also on the website in bundles. It's absolutely shocking to me how much work it is to get a line of fabric onto the website. I have to get an image of each and every little fabric, and it's not easy to get pictures of all this stuff, so I usually go to the manufacturer's website and steal the photos off of there. And by steal, I mean use. That's what they allow you to do that. I'm not breaking the law, I promise. And then you got to enter each single fabric and a description of it and its color, and so you guys, it's a lot of work to get them up there. What's that?
Connie says she loves you.
Oh yes, I don't blame you. I'm all about the pre-cuts. Nancy, I'm sorry I can't help you with laundry. I just can't do it. All right, let's get these tools out the way. The center rail. In the pattern, you mean? Or like in the pattern, I call it, I've got a solid of your choice and then a bold contrast print. So there's two separate fabrics that you're going to be using. The one that requires more fabric, the 1.75 meters, is your center rail and your block border.
When you were making it, instead of putting 3 together, didn't you put 5? A solid on the other end? Straight like that.
You absolutely could. And just split your piles half and half and do it that way. Yeah, you absolutely could. I never thought of that. The original quilt I did, even before I did the boys' little lumberjack quilts, was just a rail fence. But then I wanted to add a little something extra because those rail fences just kind of blended into each other. So I had all my rails already made, and then I just added the border. So of course that's how I put my instructions together. But making those strip sets of 5 would be fast and easy. Annie, I never pre-wash anything ever. No, I don't. But I do admit, if you're making a quilt that is red and white, I do recommend washing those reds, because they are going to bleed into your whites, and there are steps you can take to hopefully prevent that. But I think your best plan of action is to, in that case, wash your fabrics. I would be heartbroken if something bled, but of course it would be my own fault, right? I just prefer my fabrics in brand new condition. They behave much better. And I would never pre-wash a jelly roll, those 2.5-inch strips going through the wash. Oh my word, it would just be a mess. So in that situation, I would not ever recommend pre-washing, not any sort of pre-cuts. Fat quarters would be fine. You could pre-wash fat quarters or any yardage, but I mean, in theory, they've got those pinked edges, which is supposed to make them more stable. I still wouldn't risk it. All right, so these are going to be my centers, and these are going to just be outer block borders, so we can set those aside for now. And so I think the best plan of action is to just alternate. So maybe I'll sort these as well. That sort of reads more like a light. You're welcome, Annie. I'm on it, Marianne. If I could pay attention long enough to write a book, that'd be a little miracle in itself. Might take me 10 years, but I'll get there. All right. So there is one strip set there. Oops. I'm liking this dark gray in here. I think it's going to work well. Let's do a different print. I don't like to do all the same prints in the same set. So this was just a junior jelly roll, so it wasn't the full 42 pieces that I normally get out of a jelly roll, but that's okay. I don't need a lot for this little baby quilt. Oh my word, hand rinsing, yeah. One time a quilter came in and she told me about a wool batting that she had washed by hand in the bathtub. And she's explaining to me how you got to roll it all up and wring it out. And I thought, dear goodness gracious, no thank you. Nope, I'm willing just to risk it. You've washed it? Mm-hmm. Lionel's just commenting how wool shrinks. And yes, it does have a tendency to do that. Just ask Matt. All his sweaters now belong to Sophie. So I don't wash Matt's sweaters anymore because I have shrank an alarming number of them. And they don't just shrink a little bit. Like, I'm talking shrinkage that now it fits a 10-year-old girl. And Matt is a XL. Right? And it's just like, now it's just like,
Shrink in a weird area,
but wool sweaters is just the whole darn thing. She's gone. And I love it when it's got a zipper in it. So then you lay it out and this zipper has got like mountains and valleys in it in this tiny little garment. Oh gosh. I need to just dry, clean only. Ooh, haven't used this one yet, so let's get that in there. Oh yeah. I agree. I don't even want to imagine what a washed jelly roll would become. I think it would just be an awful, ugly mess. Maybe we could wash a ugly one just for kicks. No fabric is ugly. We love it all. Oh, that one's not arranged. Okay. So you guys, it's almost noon already. I just can't even believe how fast this time goes when we are together and sewing. So I guess we should choose a winner for our Jelly Babies book, please, Miss Landon. Oh my goodness. That's a whole nother story. So we've got this little gal that comes in and she makes all kinds of quilts. She goes to Value Village and she buys old wool sweaters and she brings them home and washes the heck out of them. And then she cuts squares and she makes these beautiful patchwork quilts out of these felted sweaters. Oh, they're awesome. I'm glad someone said that. Made me think of another weird fabric that gets used in quilts. They are just gorgeous. I want to make one actually. That's one project that I would copy from a customer. Patty Peterson. All right. Patty Peterson, you are my winner today of the Jelly Babies book. Congratulations. I wonder if you're Patty from Saskatchewan. That was my neighbor when I was a kid. We'll see soon. So anyways, Patty, please send me your mailing address, your email address, and your phone number, and send that in a private message, please, not here on the stream, so that we can get an order placed in the system for you, and we'll get that book sent out, okay? All right, guys, you've been watching the Stash Busters series. My name is Bradie. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I'm sorry, guys, I missed you yesterday for the Tuesday tools. I woke up with a headache that just rendered me dysfunctional, so I stayed at home in bed. No, let's do this one. So I'm sorry we missed the Tuesday tools yesterday. We'll try again next Tuesday, and I'll show you guys the long arms and some fun tools that go along with that, okay? But if you want to check out our prior quilts, please visit the Stash Busters page at sparrowquiltco.com, and you can see all the prior videos of all the things that we've done. And there's a really great video there that teaches you how to bind quilts by machine. So if you are not a fan of binding like me, then you can do yours quick and easy using that method that I demonstrate there. You can also find us on YouTube. Our channel name is Sparrow Studios, and that's with a Z at the end. And I hope while you're there that you'll subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss out on any of our crazy antics. Aside from that, you guys, it's been another fun day. Don't forget to visit the website at sparrowquiltco.com and get your free pattern for the, I almost said undone, for the Round the Rail quilt, which is the new quilt that we will start working on Friday. Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in. It's been a pleasure as always. I look forward to seeing you on Friday, and we'll do a video tour of the studio on Friday afternoon as well. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.